Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping back into the vast, unfolding pages of early Islamic history. We're going to explore a figure whose shadow stretches across centuries, cultures, and continents. We are looking at the monumental life of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the story of a man who stood at the absolute epicenter of a new faith. He navigated the radiant light of divine knowledge, but also faced the heavy shadows of immense trials. Through the history we'll explore today, you're going to witness a life defined by unwavering strength, unparalleled wisdom, and just an absolute, uncompromising commitment to justice. He was the first child to believe, the hero who broke the gates of Khaybar, and a caliph who lived like a pauper to serve the poor. That quote right there brilliantly encapsulates his profound dual legacy. He wasn't just a fierce warrior on the battlefield, though he absolutely was that. He was also a deeply compassionate ruler whose heart beat for the most vulnerable members of society. Section 1. The first to believe. Okay, let's dive right into his early days in ancient Mecca, starting at the very beginning, inside the humble, candlelit home of the Prophet Muhammad himself. His life was just a continuous journey of absolute, unshakable devotion. Historical sources tell us that Ali was actually the first male child to embrace Islam, raised in the exact household where revelation was descending. But his incredible bravery truly shone on the terrifying night of the Great Migration. Imagine this. Assassins with drawn swords are lurking in the dark streets outside the Prophet's home. And what does Ali do? He calmly risks his own life. He sleeps right in the Prophet's bed to shield the messenger of God and allow his safe escape. It's incredible. Then, shortly after arriving in Medina, he marries Fatima, the Prophet's beloved daughter, which really cemented his place at the absolute center of the prophetic family. Section 2. The Lion of Khaybar. Let's shift our focus a bit from his quiet devotion to his legendary physical prowess on the dusty battlefields of early Islam. Ali participated in almost all the decisive early battles that secured the very survival of the Muslim community. From Badr to Uhud and the grueling Battle of the Trench, he was this constant, fearless presence. His bravery was literally so unmatched that he earned the title Haidar, the Lion of Allah. When the fledgling community faced its most existential threats, he was the ultimate champion. And this brilliantly illustrates the profound trust placed in him. Right before the climactic charge at the heavily fortified oasis of Khaybar, the Prophet Muhammad declared, "Tomorrow I will give the banner to a man who loves Allah and his messenger." Well, the very next day, that banner was handed straight to Ali. He led the charge and famously lifted the impossibly heavy gates of the Khaybar fortress, securing a major pivotal victory. Section 3. The Gateway of Knowledge. Now let's explore his profound impact on Islamic scholarship, because to only remember him as a warrior, that would be a grave injustice to his overall legacy. He was deeply revered as the gateway of knowledge. Ali was an incredibly keen-sighted scholar and an expert speaker. His spiritual understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah was so deep, it made him the ultimate reference point. Actually, even the great early caliphs like Abu Bakr and Omar frequently turned to him for his profound wisdom. He laid the foundational principles for complex legal reasoning, which is known as ijtihad, and he deeply influenced the rigorous criteria used to evaluate the truthfulness of narrators, a science known as ilm al-rijal. Now, what's really interesting here is that during the rapid expansion of the Islamic State, Ali practically functioned as the chief justice. Because of his unparalleled intellect and his close proximity to the Prophet, he became the ultimate arbiter of complex legal and social disputes. And he didn't just know the law, he really understood its spirit. He made sure that truth and fairness were never compromised by technicalities or power dynamics. He was, in every sense, a perfectly balanced scale. Section 4. The Caliph of Justice. This absolute commitment to fairness defined his time leading an empire, from the grand yet surprisingly simple courts of Kufa. So the crucial point is that when Ali became caliph, he ruled over a vast, incredibly wealthy empire. But get this, he lived in a simple patched cloak. Why? Because his heart truly beat for the destitute. He launched sweeping social welfare reforms that were way ahead of their time. He established stipends for disabled soldiers, and he demanded absolute judicial impartiality, stripping away any special privileges for the elite. He strictly expanded the public treasury to ensure equitable distribution of wealth, and he directly provided grain to orphans and widows. He established an absolutely unprecedented framework of social equity. Section 5. The Burden of Trials. Leadership in this era was far from a peaceful endeavor, for sure.
we need to look at the heavy internal storms that threatened to completely tear the Muslim community apart during his reign.
The era unfortunately underwent a tragic shift. While previous caliphs largely focused on the outward expansion of the Islamic empire into Byzantine and Persian territories, Ali's reign was fundamentally different. As the historical sources outline, his time in power was just a mountain of trials. He was forced to focus almost entirely on internal dissension, navigating the deeply complex and painful reality of Muslim civil wars.
Historians rigorously document these defining conflicts. You have the Battle of the Camel, the prolonged and bitter Battle of Siffin against the governor of Damascus, Muawiyah, and the Battle of Nahrawan against the Kharijites. Throughout all these tumultuous events, Ali fought relentlessly to maintain the unity of the Ummah and to uphold the ideological and theological truth of Islam against fracturing rebellions. Tragically, these internal fractures culminated in the year 40 AH, or 661 AD, during a peaceful blue dawn at the Great Mosque of Kufa. While in a highly vulnerable state of prostration, sujud, during the morning prayer, Ali was struck down. An assassin named Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, who belonged to the Kharijite faction, delivered a fatal blow. The Lion of Allah met his Lord exactly as he had lived, in humble, absolute submission to the Creator he had served since he was a child. Section 6. An Eternal Legacy. Let's move to our final chapter and see how this builds into a legacy that genuinely transcends time, geography, and even the sectarian lines that formed in the centuries following his passing.
As we explore the historical sources from both major Islamic schools of thought, we see an incredible level of reverence. In the Sunni tradition, he's venerated as the fourth rightly guided caliph, a true paragon of virtue, justice, and the ultimate legal mind of the early companions. Over in the Shia tradition, the focus is on the prophet's explicit designations, honoring him as the first divinely appointed Imam. This highlights his infallibility, his esoteric knowledge, and his supreme position within the al-Bayt, the purified family of the prophet. While the theological frameworks obviously differ, the immense spiritual authority and the flawless character of Ali are universally celebrated by all. Ultimately, his dual legacy is defined by two profound concepts: al-Adl, meaning justice, and al-Ilm, meaning knowledge. He was the commander of the faithful who perfectly balanced the immense strength required to protect the truth with the profound wisdom needed to actually understand it. He stands as an immortal blueprint of bravery and intellect. And that brings us to a final thought. How does the legacy of a ruler who controlled an entire empire, yet actively prioritized the poorest citizens over his own comfort, challenge our modern views of power and leadership? It's a really profound thought to leave you with today. Ali ibn Abi Talib's life proves that true strength isn't just about wielding power. It's about the relentless pursuit of justice and knowledge. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.